Week 4 NFL Power Rankings, the top 10 list. Ladies and gentlemen, we do this every single week, and we are doing it. Here we are again, a few hours before Thursday Night Football between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. For those of you that want to sweat something out with me, root for the Cowboys, because I have the Cowboys -4. I took that number on Monday, I believe, maybe even early Tuesday. Unbelievable amount of value I've got on that ticket, so please, please, please let me be right. Okay, let's get to it. Top 10 last week. Chiefs, Lions, 49ers, Texans, Saints, Ravens, Jets, Bills, Bucks, and Eagles. This week, a lot of moving and shaking. So let me explain again kind of how I go through this. So there's an anchor point. The anchor point was my preseason top 10. So I at the very beginning, going into week 1, I have an anchor point of that top 10. Each week, I upgrade teams, downgrade teams on factors like win-loss, but also box scores, total yards, yards per play, injuries, things like that. So even though the Eagles won, for example, they have an absolute ton of injuries. I think in the long form version of the season, the Eagles are for sure a top 10 team. Right now, they are not. So I dropped them out of the top 10 for this upcoming week because a couple other teams I could not deny any longer. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happened. Boom, this is the new top 10 going into week 4. Chiefs 1, Lions 2, Bills 3, Ravens 4, Jets 5, Texans 6, 49ers 7, Seahawks 8, Steelers 9, and Vikings 10. There you go. So the new additions are Seahawks, Steelers, and Vikings. Now, it's always interesting because like last week, the Buccaneers were a new addition. They were 9, and then they got embarrassed. Right, they got embarrassed. The Saints were a new addition. They lost. The Bucs lose at home to the Broncos. A lot of the times early in the season, it's really important not to knee-jerk because of that. Because teams start hot or kooky things happen early on. Like the Steelers at one point had, I think, scored 1 offensive touchdown. They were 2-0. They've thrown like, someone to go double check me how many passes the Steelers have had in the first 3 games. It's like 65 passes. It's not very much. It's like it's one of the low. I think it's the lowest amount since 2018. Okay, so some anomalies happen. What usually happens though, which you'll notice is usually once a team reaches a fever point, and it's like, okay, I don't have a choice. I had to put them in the top 10, and they enter the top 10. Usually the first thing that happens is they lose, just like the Buccaneers last week. I would not be surprised at all if Minnesota and Pittsburgh lost this week. Would not be surprised whatsoever. So keep that in mind. It's always interesting to see how that plays out. The top 5-ish of the list usually stays pretty steady throughout the whole year. The bottom 5 is usually the ones that really move. So the Chiefs are 1. They have Patrick Mahomes. They are 3-0. But man, they are a shaky 1. So the Chiefs probably should be 0-3. They easily could be 0-3. Easily could have lost to the Falcons, should have lost to the Bengals, and should have lost to the Ravens. So the fact that they're 3-0 is just one of those things like Tom Brady was with the Patriots, and now Patrick Mahomes is with the Chiefs, where they just win. They just win. They know how to win. I mean, Travis Kelce is non-existent. Isaiah Pacheco is hurt. And boom, they're 3-0. So the Lions at 2. So this one right here is a little bit controversial. Lions or Bills. Bills are certainly playing better right now. They're definitely playing better than the Lions, but I think we're going to see the Bills come back to earth a little bit here. I think the Bills right now, like out of this top 4, I would say the Bills are like probably the team that I would least believe to make like a legitimate Super Bowl run. I think Josh Allen is a legitimate MVP. I just don't really trust in the infrastructure of the team. And this week, like this is a good example, right? Like the Bills are awesome. No doubt about it. They've been playing really, really good. The Ravens, they're 1-2. They haven't been playing really, really good. They had a good game against Dallas. And now all of a sudden the Ravens are 2-point favorites against the Bills. So this is a good example of like a team can be hot, another team can be losing, but the actual like structure of the team, the foundation of the team, you do have to take it into account. And I do think the Ravens are better than the Bills, and I would lean towards betting on the Ravens over the Bills. But for my power rankings the way it all works out. I got Bills at 3, Ravens at 4. Jets 5. So I had the Jets at 7 last week. I had the lose or leave town kind of match. I needed to see something from the Jets, and we saw it. The good thing about the Jets is that Aaron Rodgers looks physically pretty good. Like, he looks way better than Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins had the same injury. Cousins is moving like an 80-year-old. I mean, it is hard to watch. Rodgers looks fantastic. I mean, I think he looks great. The Jets are very similar to the Chiefs, where I don't think they're playing very well. I mean, Rodgers is, but Garrett Wilson hasn't got going at all. We saw the defense over the first couple of games. The defense just do absolutely nothing. So I was banking on them having a top 5-ish defense, top 3 defense, maybe even number 1 defense. They haven't shown that. So once they start clicking, the Jets are a super dangerous team. Super dangerous team. Texans, horrible loss last week, but to a top 10 team. Give them credit, to a team that did the same thing to San Francisco. So we'll see how they bounce back. The Texans were 2-0 at the time, got embarrassed. Still a good team. Still, I think I'm a little bit lower, I think, than most people on the Texans, but not by much. I think most people have the Texans as like a top 4, top 5 team. I have them just outside. I'm not fully prepared to anoint them yet, but just still a good team. Niners, I believe in the Niners. They lost a game that they absolutely shouldn't have to the Rams. Completely false box score. What the hell happened? I didn't really drop them that much for the Rams game because they were 3. So this seems like a huge drop, but almost none of it is Rams related. Almost all of it is injury related. Like this team, I mean, Brock Purdy's hurt. Christian McCaffrey's in Germany getting stem cells or something. Who knows what he's doing? So they just have Trent Williams was getting an IV during the game. They just have way too many injuries right now for me to really, on top of losing, on top of starting off slow. But really the reason for their drop is the injuries and not so much the Rams game. All right, the Seahawks. Seahawks, I mean, Skylar Thompson did Skylar Thompson things. So the Seahawks start off hot there. I do like the Seahawks. No lie. I mean, out of these 3 teams, out of the new entries, the Steelers, the Vikings, and the Seahawks, I think the Seahawks are the best of the 3. I think they're, I don't want to say a legit team, but seemingly they have good infrastructure, good defense. I think Geno has played much better than people want to give him credit for. I think Geno's good. I think it's okay to admit that at this point, especially in today's NFL with some really weak quarterback play, I think we can admit that Geno is good. So, but I like him. I like the coach. Mike McDonald's a hell of a coach. The defense is coming together. They're a good team. I think they'll stick around in the top 10 for a little while here. The Steelers, we'll see this week. Best offense they've played will be the Colts. They're playing on the fast track in Indy. At a certain point, you can't win every game the way they're currently winning the games. Like, you have to throw the football, you have to score, you have to. I mean, they won the first week. I'm pretty sure without scoring a touchdown, right? Wasn't it just a ton of field goals? Someone, I'm pretty sure it was like 6 field goals. So, I like the Steelers, I guess, more than I thought I would coming into the season. I do think they have to play Fields. Like, I think the idea that they could go back to Wilson is absolutely insane. As long as Fields is winning and the offense is existing, I don't want to say good, I don't want to say efficient, I don't want to say any of that, but Fields has them doing something. I mean, he is making some decent throws, but at some point the offense has to come alive, and I don't think they're going to be able to. I mean, maybe the defense is that elite that they're kind of the Jets of last year, where they have the number 1 defense. Defense is on a whole different level. And then if they can get anything out of the quarterback play, they can win games. Right now, Justin Fields is giving them something out of the quarterback position, something that Zach Wilson last year did not do for the Jets. But I kind of like Indy this week. But I could be wrong. I never am. And then 10 is the Vikings. So Sam Darnold is a little banged up. From what I'm hearing right now, he's going to play. He's fine as far as like long-term prognostication. But I like the Vikings. The Vikings are one of those teams where they are certainly not this juggernaut, undefeated team that we think they are or that they seem to be, but they aren't they aren't as bad as I think people thought they'd be coming into the year. I think they more than likely they probably land somewhere in like, I think at the end of the year they'll probably be like 16, 17, somewhere in there. Like some of these other teams are going to come closer to the pack. Like I think Cincy will come closer to the top 10. The Eagles will certainly be in the top 10, I think. Even the Rams, if they were healthy. The Packers, once Jordan Love gets back. Let's see. Yeah, the other teams are like Atlanta and Dallas. I don't think they're top 10 teams. But yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of teams. I mean, if you look at this right now, like let's move some teams around here. So let's see. If you got Philly, the Bengals, the Saints, we'll put the Rams up here, put the Bucks up here, put the Falcons up here, put the Packers up here. Like these teams right here. So this is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 2 is hurt, so I'm not going to include Miami, but if 2 was there, Miami be included. You could even throw Dallas in at the end here. The rest of the teams are kind of garbage. But you got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18-ish teams that are going to be competing. Like Dallas might not be a playoff team. Atlanta might not be a playoff team. Tampa might not be a playoff team. But they will be in the conversation. They'll be competing. The amount of parity in the NFL right now is absolutely insane. But I think Minnesota, I think when it's all said and done, like if I took everything out, if I took the records out, if I took the injuries out, if I took all the crazy stuff we've seen and just go off of kind of what we've seen, like just kind of go off of what the players are doing, not so much the results. I know that's a hard concept, I guess, but it would probably be like Philly be in the top 10, Green Bay be in the top 10. Saints probably an honorable mention. It'd probably be something like this. And Pittsburgh would probably be out, and Minnesota would probably be out. But we can't do that right now. So it's kind of a weird thing where we have 10 teams, but we're still in like this like wait and see kind of period with Pittsburgh and Minnesota. I feel bad for Minnesota because like if you're Minnesota, what else could you do? Right? If you're Minnesota, you're sitting here going, my brother in Christ, we just demoralized the 49ers and demoralized the Texans. Like what else do you want us to do to prove that you're a top 10 team? And maybe that's true. And a lot of people like last week said, why aren't you moving Minnesota up? And I believe last week we had Minnesota at like 11. I think they were the honorable mention team. So I would have originally had them at like 26, 25. So they had already jumped up more than 10 spots last week, and now they're finally in the top 10. So I have upgraded them a lot. I mean, I've upgraded all those teams, these teams I've talked about here. Cincy, I think I've downgraded Cincy, obviously, but probably not as much as people believe. Downgraded Dallas. Really downgraded Cleveland, downgraded Tennessee a lot, Jacksonville a lot, Indy a lot, upgraded. Washington's upgraded, Arizona's upgraded. The Panthers are interesting. The Panthers, it's almost like a new season. The Panthers are a totally different team now with Dalton. So the Panthers probably are upgraded too a little bit. We'll see this week. They have Cincy. So we'll see if Dalton was a one-hit wonder or if he's got a little bit more in the tank. But this is the top 10. Interesting season. So really fun, really interesting NFL season right now. I'm really confident in saying like 7 teams are good teams. I think 7 teams are like legit Super Bowl contenders. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shoot, maybe more than that. I'd be really, really confident in saying that these 8 teams are Super Bowl contenders. Chiefs, Lions, Bills, Ravens, Jets, Texans, 49ers, Eagles. Maybe the Packers should be in there. And then I'm really confident that the Seahawks, Steelers, Vikings, Saints, Rams, Bucks, Falcons, Bengals will make noise. Whether that's make noise in winning a division and then hosting a playoff game, or whether that's make noise in like a surprise trip to the conference championship game, I don't know. But a ton of parity. ton of parity, which makes the games really, really fun. So I'm interested to see what we get out of Dallas tonight. If Dallas can kind of figure things out and put on, like, this is the game that Dallas always figures out a way to just dominate. You know, a weak opponent, primetime game. Like, this is where Dallas kind of gets the bully ball going. But this is the top 10. Here you go. Every single week we do this. So again, this week, Chiefs, Lions, Bills, Ravens, Jets, Texans, 49ers, Seahawks, Steelers, Vikings. My prediction, the Steelers lose. And are we going to say the Vikings lose? Who do they play? Let's see here. Ooh, the Packers. All right, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say the Packers beat the Vikings. And I'm going to say the Steelers lose to the Colts. Who do the Seahawks get? The Seahawks get the Lions. Oh, my God. So all three are going to lose. Okay. So the Seahawks are going to lose, the Steelers are going to lose, and the Vikings are going to lose this weekend. And we'll have a whole new situation. If that is the case, I can go ahead and tell you what's going to happen. Is Green Bay will go into the top 10. Philly will probably go back into the top 10 unless Philly loses. And Philly has the Bucks. And then probably Seattle might go to 10. So they may remain in there. I was going to say winner of Saints-Falcons might sneak into 10. If the Saints beat the Falcons, I'll probably sneak into 10. If the Falcons beat the Saints, I'm not sure if they'll sneak in because they looked so bad early on. They might need another game to sneak into the top 10. But I think Seattle loses, Pittsburgh loses, Minnesota loses, and next week I have a sneaky feeling we'll have Green Bay, Philadelphia, and New Orleans back in the top 10. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Get on down in the comments below. Let me know what you think, where you are on this, and I will see you in the next video.